Whoops! I forgot to mute my. No, I forgot to unmute my mic. I did it manually. I did it again. I did it again. Now, screw all that. I actually dropped the expletive, but nobody heard it. Thank God. But welcome to the first episode of the William Green Xperience live on YouTube, Facebook, and I believe I put this on. I think I put this on Twitch too, but I don't know if I did or not. But anyway, anybody who's watching, what up, everybody? Right now, who I have on is one of my best friends. We have actually known each other since 2011. We met on this sports group called Sports Analyst. By the way, join that page. Just search it on Facebook if you like. Like we've been friends since 2011, and back in 2014, he started creating wrestling theme songs, hip hop style. Because I don't want to just call him a rapper. I want to call him a theme song creator, a pro wrestling theme creator. Because not a lot of people are making wrestling rap theme songs like that. They did it with a few other songs, probably like NWO Wolfpack, and I think Rey Mysterio did a theme song, but they was already notable people. But just for somebody to come out of nowhere to do it has been different. And he's actually the person responsible for why I wanted to come on here, why I wanted to go to do radio, online radio, and any type of media, because it all started with More to Life Radio. He and Gary G. Cashboon hosted that show back in 2013, and then he invited me to do it. And at the same time, I was doing the Will and Tony show with my boy Anthony Escribano. So he motivated me to do everything, and now it's become this. Now you see this behind me. All this right here, this man right here, the one and only TZ Scott. What up, bro?
My brother, my man, my MTL brethren, my brother, man. I am more than honored to be here um on your wonderful show. I'm glad to be the first guest. I'm glad you hit me up. You thought of me as soon as you hit me up. I was like, I'm down. You've always, you're an intricate part to the story on, how all this happened. And you're a really, really intricate part to this story. And you definitely have a piece in this happening. You've done so much to help this happen. So there's so much to talk about. There's so much to dive into, man. But I'm definitely glad to be here. And thank you for thinking of me, man.
No problem. I appreciate it. Like I said, I love you to death. That's why I wanted to bring you on as my very first guest, because that's my way of giving back.
I love you too, man.
This is my way of giving right back. So let's get started. How did you even get to this point? For those of you who don't know who TZ Scott is, tell everybody who you are, first of all.
Gotcha. I am if a lot of people who knows, he said briefly in the introduction of me. Great introduction, by the way, man. I am a hip hop artist. I am a motivational speaker. I am a life coach. I am a podcast host. And if you're familiar with me, if you know who I am, I co-host the Swerve City podcast with my bro, Isaiah Swerve Scott, WWE wrestler. Previous host of More to Life Radio with my man G Cash. Hopefully we were able to bring that back one day. We actually did speak about bringing it back, but it's just all about timing and stuff like that. And everything's been crazy. For me, if you guys watch wrestling, I have made theme songs for the who's who of wrestling right now, currently in rotation. I've made music for every single wrestling company in the world, or my music has been played on every single major wrestling company in the world. Impact, New Japan, you name it, it's been played there. Currently, is being played right now on AEW for Sammy Guevara and Big Swole. There's a possibility that Brian Cage might use the one I made for him too. So there's a guaranteed 2, possible 3 songs on TNT television right now that is going to be played with my voice on it. So for however you know me, I've been, whether it's through podcasting, through music, through motivational speaking, or through the sports page if you're a personal friend, through the sports page with me, Will, Floyd, Richard Evans, Brandon Blake Scott, Jesse Waybright. I mean, Bruce. Oh my gosh, Sean Sims,
Oh God,
Robert
pesos.
Sims, Peso. Shout out to Peso. Shout out to Big Bro. Love you, bro. Through a personal level on how we all met. So, shout out to Rich, man. You and Rich are actually the outside of the wrestlers. You two are the most important part to my story in the wrestling world as well. You guys are two important parts. So there's so much to talk about, so much to dive into.
Oh,
But that's who I am.
oh, very good. Now everybody who's listening, who's new to the show, knows exactly who TZ Scott is. If you don't know, but like, how did this whole theme song creation thing come along? Like, how did it even start? Because I know it started before the Roman Reigns theme. So you gotta tell me how that got started.
Well, at the time, I was on the sports analyst page for about 2 years, 2.5 years prior to this happening. So one day, I'm randomly in my house, holding my son. My son's 2 years old at the time, little baby, and I randomly started watching the Royal Rumble 2013, and that's when the Shield debuted. And there's a guy, Samoan dude, looked like jacked in shape dude. And I was like, who's that? And it was like the son of Sika, Roman Reigns. I'm like, word. So then time passes, and I started writing a song about him randomly. And the song ends up going viral on its own. 2014, put the song out and ends up going viral all on its own. It just went all over the place. And I'm like, it was my first time actually going viral and seeing responses from people like that. And like, wow, like people really, really gravitated to this record. So I kept making music. And I remember that time. It's funny how this happens. I remember that time Rich was like, hey, come to Maryland. Bret Hart's going to be here.
Yeah, 2014. I remember that, October
2014. And I went up there. I didn't know Rich from a lick of anything as far as meeting him face to face. He picked me up. You were there, and we all Bret Hart, Jimmy Hart. We all met them together, and it was at that show that Drolix was coming out, and he had Black Wall Street, and they were coming out to some music from the game, and he's like, "You need to make music for those guys." So MCW in Maryland, I ended up making the music for Drolix in MCW, and it ended up being my first independent wrestling song I ever made, and it was a banger too. And it actually ended up jumpstarting my career. And to see how it's funny because now that I'm 6 years in the business, it doesn't feel like it. I feel like all this happened yesterday, and it's such a weird thing because remember, bro, when we had the burnt CDs.
Yeah.
And me, you, and Rich were standing out there in the cold for 3 hours.
Yeah, he was.
Me, you, and Rich. This is why I tell people, like, people are a part of the story. Always mention, I tell anybody, don't disservice anybody. If anybody was part of your story, make sure you tell the whole story because there's a lot of people that, invested as you did. You invested in me financially. You invested in me so much to keep me pushing. And you are mentally there for me. Rich and Will, the guy who's hosting this podcast right now speaking to me, was out there in the cold with me for 3 hours standing there waiting just to drop off a CD to the owner, Dan McDevitt of MCW, just so he can hear what we had. And we stood out there patient. A lot of the wrestlers showed up before we did. I mean, we showed up before a lot of the wrestlers did. We stood outside in the cold. We didn't say anything. We were humble. We didn't ask if they let us in to watch the show. They did. We paid for a ticket. We were humble. After the show, we went shake hands with the locker room. We really did this the old-fashioned way. And watching how that happened from 2014 to watching how it's now where I'm at in 2020 and watching where the team has gone and what you guys have invested in me and believed in me to get to this point, dude, I just couldn't give up. I can't give up. Like, it's just so much is riding on the line, and seeing where you guys have really, really invested in me, man. I kind of get emotional talking about it because it means so much, because you don't really find friends like that. You know what I mean? You don't find true friends like that really, really stick with you and believe in you. And you, Rich, you guys have done so much for me, and I love you, bro, and thank you for that. So that's my journey into that, and over time, making music for everybody in wrestling, from Moose to, I mean, you name it. Swerve I end up making Swerve song in 2017.
Oh yeah.
And I had my own podcast. You know, I had the More to Life podcast. And I randomly booked Swerve for an interview. We met, me, you, and him met at the Shamrock Cup in 2015.
Yeah, Shamrock Cup, 2015.
Right, so that's part of our connection. So
our table was right next to his.
Right out. You see how this works? It's weird how the universe works, bro. It's weird how the universe works and how things happen. So our table's right next to his. We take pictures with him. He fights Leo Rush. Leo Rush wins the cup.
Yeah.
And years go by, 2 years go by. I book Shane for a random interview. We sit down, we talk. And he asked me, he said, "Hey man, how would you like to do a podcast with me?" He didn't know me from anything, bro. He knew me from 2015, but we didn't speak much outside of that. We said, "Hey, how you doing?" You know what I mean? We kept it cool and kept it moving. I kept doing my thing, he kept doing his thing. But man,
so he reached out to you to do the podcast that the Swerve podcast. Sorry, I'm stumbling right now.
Yes, he reached out to me to co-host with him.
Okay.
Because he liked the way I talk, he liked the way I spoke, he liked the fact of how I carried the podcast.
Yeah.
And he gave me a shot. He's like, "Hey man, I want you to be the guy." So with that, I just got put into a situation where I went from just being like a regular dude, small dude, you know, people knew my theme songs or whatever, to like at the top of the independence and media, just like that. And man, was it a whirlwind. We did Swerve Talk, which is on High Spots. We did Swerve Talk. We had everybody on there. Me and him built a great chemistry together. And over time, we didn't know each other like that very well, but we became great friends. We became that became my brother over time. You know what I mean? And we got to know each other. And I've been there with him through a lot of this journey from 2017 to now. So throughout these 3-4 years, we've always stuck by each other's side. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's the journey of how that happened. Then he signed to WWE, and the WWE was like, "Yo, we love the podcast you guys do. Yeah, we know who you are, TZ. Go ahead, man. We have no problem with you co-hosting with him."
How does that make you feel that they tell you that they know who you are? Like I would be like, wait, what? If somebody told me that they knew who I was, I'm like, oh, wait, what? But that's just me. I don't know how anybody else.
It's weird because you don't think everybody's watching.
Yeah.
But everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. So there's like, "Yeah, I don't know TZ. Yeah, TZ's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, we know who Monteasy is, Antoine is. Yeah, he's fine." They do their background check on everybody. It wasn't until I got around that I started seeing what they did. They do their background checks on everybody, bro. And they know who everybody is, who everybody's around. And there's been a lot of eyes on me for a long time. And I just didn't notice it until I got here. So now everybody's watching and they're like, "Oh yeah, TZ's good." You know what I mean? TZ's fine. But now I have a thing where now I have a good relationship with both companies. You know what I mean? With the two major platforms, and I have my freedom to move around as I wish. So that is a lot of my journey, man. So now, I have the songs for AEW. Sammy Guevara reached out for me to make the song for him. Sammy reached out to me. Me and Big Swole was already like family, so we did that together as well.
How did he drop on you? Did he go through Swerve, or did he just randomly hit you up on social media?
He DM'd me on Instagram and asked me to make it for him.
Oh, just like that.
He just DM'd me. He said, "Hey man, I want you to make my theme. Can you do that for me?" I was like, "Yeah, oh yeah."
Uh-oh.
So I ended up making Take Flight, and Take Flight has changed my whole life.
Yeah, it's actually available on TikTok. Remember I told you when we were speaking about this that they have some of your music available on TikTok?
That's crazy. I gotta look that up, man, because I don't try to be. I'm not on every single social media app, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you for telling me that, man. Like I got to look into that because that's dope.
I was just
That's
put
dope.
onto it recently by a motivational speaker named Gary V. He said that that's like a fast moving social media platform to post every type of media, and a lot of artists is on that right now, and up and coming artists. Most people is basically like getting a lot of follows because of it. So that's why I started making the videos recently. I don't know if you've been seeing my news feed on Instagram, but a lot of it is TikTok videos that I made. So when I made the little trailer to promote the show, I looked your name up and I'm like, oh, they have your music there. You even got Roman Reigns, the very first one I started it on. And they have Sammy Guevara's theme, so I used that as the intro.
What is your you've heard a lot of my catalog. What is your favorite theme from me?
I gotta say right now, it has to be Roman Reigns. But I do love the other ones. There's other ones that I do like. It's not just that one.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
It's
Roman,
not
yeah, that
just
was
that
special.
one.
That's special, man, because there's so much history with us, man, and us going to the Shamrock Cup and just think about, man, the journey that we went through to get here. You know what I mean? You're
Yeah,
part of this journey. You know what I mean? You're part of this happening. So it's it's special when you talk to someone who was like on the road with you to this journey.
yeah,
You know, going to PCW, going to MCW, doing all these small independent shows
yeah,
and grinding and
yeah,
rapping, and rapping around the ring and having the microphone and just waiting my opportunity to rap.
yeah.
To see where I'm at now and to see what a team as MTL where we really really have gone, dude, it says so much, bro, about our perseverance as a team.
Yes.
And it means so much to me, bro. I can't thank you and Rich enough. You, Gary, Rich, everyone, Rob, Cy. Now we know a member of the sports analyst team is now with us here. So the MTL imprint is with the podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just me now. We got another member of the team there. So it says a lot, man.
Mm-hmm. It does. And you mentioned earlier about a performance. Like, how did that come about? The performance you playing Drolix down to the ring, the Shane Shamrock Cup 2015. How did that come about?
Oh, man, well, it's funny because at that time I was so eager. I wanted to rap, but I knew that I couldn't be everywhere at every time. So at the time we were doing More to Life Radio, we were interviewing a lot of the wrestlers going into the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Draws, I said, man, I want to perform live. I want to perform it live. Now, mind you, I took 2 years off rapping. From 23 to 25, I took 2 years off music. I did not make any music because I just wanted to reinvent myself. I took 2 years off.
Yeah.
So then I how can I say the story? How can I tell a story about what happened? Okay, here it is. So there's so much variables to what happened. So I told Jobs that I wanted to perform. And Jobs was like, hey, man, I'll talk to the powers that be and see if I could do it for you for the cup. And then we got word back like 3-4 weeks later that he was down, that we got the approval to do it. Man, I didn't perform with a mic in my hand for like a year prior to that. I didn't do anything. I didn't perform. I didn't do anything. So that show that people see from 2015 to me performing was literally the first time I had a mic in like 2 years. I was so nervous going into that show. And I was the last entrance.
Yes.
And
anybody who I'm sorry, let me cut you off. I just remembered something about that night that was memorable. Remember, there was some technical difficulties, and they sold the hell out of it because Drolix plays a heel in MCW. He played the heel at that time. So something happened with the audio, and the ring announcer Danny Mays, that's his name, right? He said that he told his opponent to go first. It's typical heel fashion because I can imagine somebody conceited, somebody who's feeling themselves like, you know what, Let that punk ass person come out first, so they can come out, and then they play your song, and then you walk him down to the ring.
Right.
That's what I loved about that. I love how like it was just when you do your first like performance or show, wherever it may be, it's usually some technical difficulties that's involved in the first in the first trial. You just have to try to find a way to like work with it, and that's what y'all did, and that's why it was a success, in my opinion.
I think so many variables had to come into play, man. So many variables and things had to come into play, and for things to work out the way they have worked out. You know what I mean? So many blessings had to come our way for things to happen the way that has happened over this time. And I sit back and this, and getting this nostalgia, thinking about the times and how much we've invested into this, the studio time, the songs, how much we've put into this, has really said, like, look, if you really keep going and you really don't give up and you keep a smart way to move about your business and keep a good relationship with people, you can really, really, really get places.
Yes, you're right.
I'm a prime example of that. Like I always tell people when it comes to my story, I'm not the most talented dude. I'm not the tallest dude. I'm not the most in shape dude. I'm not, there's many people bigger, better. There's people that rap better than me. That, I'm not saying I'm the greatest at everything, but what I will say is that it's going to be hard to find someone that works harder. And I take pride in grabbing my hard hat and giving the game a hard day's work and clock out. I've learned to leave the entertainment business where it is. I can turn off being Monteasy and become Antoine in a second when I'm with my kids, unless it's barring any emergency. I don't care. I don't think about the business. I'm with my kids. And, I'm just focused, man. I'm focused on the next thing. I have 30 more goals that I wrote down that I'm working on, you know what I mean, to be successful. Yeah. And things that I can do to help the team, help you, help Rich, anybody who, has been down, and anybody that I can, support. And it's been a lot, man. How do you feel on the opposite end, seeing this growth from where we started to here now?
I'm very happy for you. It's amazing because it started off as you making the Roman Reigns theme, and then it went from that to us going to Maryland to pitch the song to Mr. McDevitt. That's his name, right? I hope I'm not butchering his name. Okay. Yeah, we pitched it to him. He loved it. And then the next time we went there, the very next time, you performed. You performed in 2015, and that was awesome. And then it went from there to you going on different doing different things, meeting different people in the business. I saw that you met Billy Gunn. You told me that you was gonna have lunch with Mick Foley. What was that like?
Man, my friend Emmanuel set that up. Shout out to Emmanuel. He's another person that's been important to making this happen. I love you, Emmanuel. You're my guy. My friend out of North Carolina. Anybody who helps me or anybody who becomes friends or people that hit me up, they become family. You know what I mean? And I'm just a wrestling fan like everybody else who just happens to make music. And Emmanuel was like, "Yo, I know Mick Foley." I'm like, "Word?" He's like, "Yeah, I can. When he's in Florida, see if you guys can link up for lunch. I'll let him know who you are." Lo and behold, he gave me Mick's number. Him and Mick set it up. We set up a spot to meet at the Denny's. He showed up right on time, 2:00 p.m. We sat there and we talked. I asked him about family. I asked him about marriage. I asked him about life. And he paid the ticket. Everybody, did he pay the bill? Yes, he paid the ticket. And we sat down and we really, it was an eye opener, man. It's like so much has happened, bro. It's been a blur, and I can't, man. I'm sitting back thinking about this right now because I don't really get a chance to think about all of it because I'm just always in go mode. I'm like, what's next? What's next? What's next?
Yeah.
But being on your show and really, really seeing that you like from where you started with me to see where this has gone. It's like, man, this is crazy, bro. Like, it feels like it just happened yesterday.
It really does. It really does. Like everything, like it's like 5 years ago. This feels like 5 minutes.
Right. It really
It
feels.
feels like
It feels
that.
like it don't feel like 7. It don't feel like 6 years. It feels like a solid maybe 2,
Yeah.
maybe a solid 2.
Mm-hmm. It really
It
does.
feels like a solid year and a half, 2 years, not 6.
Yeah.
You know, and
And
man, I don't know, man. Like I just feel. I feel
yeah,
good, bro. I feel really, really good about the future, where everything's gone, and then linking with Swerve doing that podcast, and then motivating him to start rapping. Something he always wanted to do, but just didn't. Kind of like how you feel about the radio show when you
yeah.
starting.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm glad I've been able to be an inspiration to him to get into the studio and start making music. He's adapted faster than anyone I've ever seen to make music. He's adapted the fastest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him musically. So, man, it's been a whirlwind, but we're still pushing. And even though it's been a long journey, I still got another 6 to 10 years of stuff that I want to accomplish. So, I appreciate everything that has happened, but there's also a lot to look forward to as well.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because just to bring up something in regards to motivation, you and Rich actually motivated me to get to where I want to be right now. Even though it had to take some work. Because remember we went to the Shane Shamrock Cup, and I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. I was actually jealous. I'm not afraid to say it. I'm as a man, I'm gonna admit that. I was jealous because of all the attention that you was getting in the fan base. And I wanted all that stuff. So what did Rich tell me? How you gonna have fans if you're not and you're not working hard towards it? Like you barely do shows. So how you gonna gain a fan base if you do like one shows every few weeks? So ever since I had that talk in the car on that trip back to DC from Rich's house in Maryland, and it woken a giant because y'all was right. I can't sit here and bitch about me not having recognition if I'm not doing shit. So what I did was I started making videos here and there, but at the same time I still had to work on myself. So that's when I went sought out therapy because I had to get my mental health in check. And now here
Good
I am.
good call, man. Good call. Proud of you
Yes,
for that.
yes. Thank you so much. Like
Proud of you for that, bro. A lot of black men don't do it, and it's one of the best things you could do is to sit down with someone maybe you don't have any ties to, that's not automatically going to have your side in the situation, that will disagree with you sometimes.
exactly. That's what I try to tell people because you have your friends, you have your professional life, and then you have this the therapist is basically your third party. My bad, I forgot to mention family. Yeah. Then it's a third party person that doesn't know who you are. You have to tell and I'm gonna tell you like this: tell them everything that's bothering you. Don't leave anything out because if you do, it's gonna leave room for them to and question you or what's missing. And at the end of the day, you're not gonna be able to work on yourself because how can you work on yourself if you don't admit that you have a problem?
Facts.
So that's why I tell people that's what therapy is for. And everybody, if you're ever going through something, seek help. If you can't talk to because you can talk to your friends, but it's about so much they can tell you because you probably won't want to hear anything anyway. And I'm the type of person I take accountability anyway. So that's but it was work. I had to admit some things about myself. So that's why I'm here.
Oh man, go looking in that mirror and admitting some things about yourself is the coldest thing. It's the most stripping down of ego thing you ever have to do as a man, is to look in the mirror and tell what is wrong with you, how bad it is, the flaws about yourself, and really owning up to it. It is something, man. Like, I'll give you honest truth. Like, it's the same thing working with Swerve. Swerve is a year younger than me. He's worked his behind off, and it's the same thing. Like, I see him and the followers he gets on social media and how much attention he gets for what he does, and You know what I mean? And it makes me work harder because not saying that I'll need the attention. It's not what I'm for. But at the same time, when you see your homie doing great, you know what I mean? And you guys are together, you want that same thing. You want that same piece of the pie. You know what I mean? So I can understand how you feel, but at the end of the day, it's like my mentor tells me, "Who cares? Work harder. Who cares? Work harder."
Yeah,
you know, and you know, it's not time for feelings. It's time to put in work. And there's something that is amiss between you and your respective fan base or the people to say, "Hey, you're not doing enough. Work harder. Work harder. Keep pushing. Work harder. Keep pushing." You know. Me and Swerve push each other. I like to push my friends. My friends like to push me. I'm not above getting Tim Duncan by Greg Popovich. It don't bother me. I mean, when I need a kick in my ass, I get a kick in my ass too. There's no egos and stuff over here. When Sai has to kick me in my ass, Sai kick me in my ass. When I have to kick Sai in the ass, I kick. When Swerve has to do that, Swerve has to do it. When I have to do it to him, you know, there's no egos here. We all trying to win, you know. And I always told you, I always told you this. From the very beginning, I believe you are the best media host in the world. I believe you are. And because you have a different passion for this, even more than me, even more than anyone else. You know what I mean? You have a passion. You've been wanting to do this since you were a baby. This is what you've been wanting to do.
You're right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like when it comes to you, is just really for you just to find that motivation. First, you had to clear your head, which you did. You went to therapy, which is the great thing.
And I'm still attending sessions too. Don't forget that. I still attend sessions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you had to, you know, you had to be around other people to see how they were moving. You know what I mean? Someone like myself, someone like a Rich, someone who, you know, Rich has a family, he's a father, he has kids, and he's still able to maintain all this. Me, I'm an entertainer, I'm a father. You know, stuff that you might not personally have in your life for certain things, but other things you do have, and you're learning, you're watching other people. You know, you're a very observant person. And I always told you, Will, that you are the best radio host in the world, and nobody's ever going to take that crown from you. And I will always tell you that because you are. I believe it.
I appreciate that coming from you because you worked hard to get to where you're at, and I'm trying to get to where you're at right now doing this show. And I'm just gonna let y'all know something. Anybody who's listening to the show, I ain't gonna go deep into what this whole thing is gonna be about because I'm gonna do that another time. But you're gonna hear some shit that you're not gonna like because I'm gonna keep it a century with all y'all. That's all I can do is keep it a century. I'm not gonna come in here and try to pander to one specific group. I'm gonna tell the truth. Or what I believe is the truth. If you want to come on here and challenge me, go ahead. I'm not afraid of, I don't mind talking to people I disagree with. And I think that's the problem with people. I believe that people want everybody to agree with them and not hold them accountable. Like if I have people like you and my other friends who I call family in my corner, I would just be one naive person. And you can't do that. But back to you. I remember you told me that you were sick to the point that you had like a mild stroke or something because of doing all the moving you do. How did that happen?
Say that again. I'm sorry. Repeat that question.
Yeah. I remember me and you talked. You told me that you had a mild stroke. Like, how did that happen?
Oh man, it was stress. Honestly, it was an underlying stress. You think you don't have it, and it had a lot to do with my diet as well. A lot of it, my potassium was very low, which is very, very important for heart function. And my potassium naturally runs kind of low now as I get older in life, so I have to take a potassium tablet, and I have to keep water weight off my body because my body retains water more than other people.
Yep.
So it's just a lot of stress, man. I was dealing with being a father of kids, of children, you know what I mean? Trying to maintain that, being in a failed relationship, stressing out, not having a lot of money, eating more than I need to because I stress eat. I'm a stress eater. So all that added up, and I had a TIA one day. And basically what a TIA is is a temporary stroke you have where you have stroke symptoms for, it could be a couple minutes to a couple days, and then it goes away.
Mm.
Where your body goes through like preemptive stroke symptoms. And about 2.5 years ago, I was in the hospital for a week, confined to a bed with with doing a bunch of EKGs and stuff to my heart. I couldn't go to the bathroom without asking someone. I literally laid in one spot in the hospital bed for a week because of that. To this day, I still have issues. I'm not as fast as I used to be. Nowhere strong. That hospital, that one hospital visit took a lot out of me. Those 7 days took a lot out of me. I'm still not as quick as I used to be. I still have to really monitor what I eat now. I exercise every other day on my bike for an hour and a half a day. Every other day. So I ride my bike a lot. And like tomorrow, I took the day off. Tomorrow I have to get up and go on my bike early in the morning. Put my headphones on and ride for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So luckily I don't have any kidney issues, no kidney failures, which is like the really major thing of strokes is kidney failure. So I don't have, my kidneys are good. My brain is good. I don't have any damages. Everything went away. It was just a warning that you got to get right. So right now I've been a single man. I've been a bachelor for 2.5 years, single man, no relationships. I get my kids every other weekend. I don't let this music business or entertainment business get to me. You know what I mean? If I have to turn my TV off, I do. If I turn my phone off, I do. And I don't take none of this personal no more like I used to. So it really, that really helped me. Those things really helped me to reverse it.
If you don't mind me asking, what parts of it you took personal though?
Of the business?
Yeah, what parts of the business you took personal?
See, the entertainment business, there's no.
Because I know you're
like I always say.
Person.
Huh?
I know you're a very passionate person.
Yes, when I really want to get into something and I believe it, I go hard for it. I go 100% hard. Here's the thing about that, right? When I took personal, I really was overthinking. I think, you think you need to have a certain amount of followers, a certain amount of people on your Twitter, a certain amount of views on your page. You put out one song and you want, you have a song like Roman Reigns being your first theme song, and then you want the song 3 years later to do the same thing, when theoretically that doesn't happen. Everything has ups and downs. I've been through the ups and peaks and downs of my career. I've been through the ups and I've been through the downs. So, like, overthinking, man, overthinking the game, really overthinking this and putting my heart too much into this, knowing that the game don't love you back. You can love the game, but the game doesn't have to love you back. So whatever little success you get in this game, you got to appreciate it. Whatever the game is willing to give you back. It's like playing, like being in the entertainment industry, doing what you do, doing what I do is like playing the game of blackjack.
Yep.
You play, the dealer deals out the cards and you're at 16. You bust if you go over 21. Mm-hmm. If you hit and it goes over 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, if it goes over 6 or 7, you're crapped out.
Yeah.
But if you hit and you get to 20, and then the dealer deals the cards and he busts over 22, you win. It's really gambling. That's really what the entertainment business is. It's a game of blackjack. You're gonna lose some hands. You're gonna win some hands, but you can't take it personal. You have to take the wins. You have to take the L's and the wins and do them the same way. You have to take them both the same way. You can't take a win and go up here and feel like, oh man, I'm here, and get you happy. But when you take a loss, it's like this. No, they have to be the same. You have to feel good about the win, but you also can't take that lesson and that loss that might come and take it too personal. Because what happens is, people start, certain things in their plan doesn't start working as they think it should, and then they give up. There's no reason to give up. There's no reason to give up in this. There's no Dude, there's no rule book to this. You know how many people that has had doors closed on them for 15, 20 years, and then by the time they're 35 and they're done, a door opens, and then their whole life changes because they just didn't give up. We are the late bloomers. We're the guys that's gonna get it at 35, 40 years old. That's us. You know what I mean? I've grown comfortable with that. Some people get it at 25. That's them. That's their journey. But I'd rather get it at 35 and know what I'm doing than get it at 25 and not know what I'm doing.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You can't take it personal because I had the same thing happen to me. I'm not gonna say this person's name on the air because I don't want to start any shit with people. But you introduced me to somebody that started up a indie wrestling company here in New York City, and you put me in. You introduced me to him. Basically, what I wanted to do is I wanted to work there as a photographer because that's what I was doing at the time. I'll still do it now, but at the time that's what I was really doing. So I went there, I took pictures, but I felt like it was like one of those things where he just did it so he could shut you up type shit. And he didn't want to meet with me. I could tell by the way I could tell people's energy. If they say that if they have 5 minutes and won't give you 5 minutes, that's their way of saying screw you. So at that time I took it personal. Now I'm like, it is what it is. Like, I just go to the next. But yeah, you can't take it personal.
You don't have to say who. What was the company name?
Tier 1, I believe.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, that guy disappeared from like wrestling period. He's gone.
He's gone?
Yeah, he's disappeared from wrestling like 4 years ago. I don't know what happened to dude. Whatever happened to dude, you know what I mean? It is what it is. He just totally fell the face of the earth. But he was one of the guys in the many indie companies that I made theme songs for. I thought I could put a plug in. I actually do have someone that I want you to meet that's a good dude. I'm going to connect you with him. I love him to death. He was the last guy I did a theme song performance before in the indies. And his name is Joaquin Morales from in a wrestling company in Brooklyn in Brooklyn. And I definitely want you guys to meet up. I believe that your services there would be great. Even if you do photos, whatever, man. I just want you to meet Joaquin, bro, and y'all link up. I have nothing. I mean, that man's helped me through a lot of personal stuff in my life as far as being a ear. So I vouch for him. So I'm gonna link you guys up when this COVID stuff goes away.
Oh, I appreciate that always. Well, yeah, that's basically what the point we're trying to get at. We're like, when you do stuff like this, it's a crapshoot, like you said. Because everything for me was a slow process too. Like me coming with the concept of the show. Me trying to find out where I'm gonna stream it at, because at the time, we was doing everything on Blog Talk, but we all know what happens with Blog Talk. Everything goes to shit. So I was like, you know what? I need a new place to stream, and also need to be taken seriously. Because the way you present yourself is how people is going to perceive you.
Absolutely. If you're having audio issues and you're on Blog Talk Radio and you're having all these problems, and you're having all these, all these issues and problems, it's not going to work out. Hold on. Somebody's knocking on my door. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second.
You're knocking my door.
Knock on my door. 1 second.
Oh, I butchered that song. Well, yeah, like I was saying, like, it's all a crapshoot. That's what it is. You're not gonna get instant perfection. Like, I had people ask me, few people, some friends and people I barely talk to. They asked me, what did they ask me? Yeah, they asked me, do I get paid for this? No, I don't. I do this because I love doing it. Now, when I get to a certain time, to a certain bracket, as far as followers is concerned, as soon as I get to a certain amount of followers, then I'll probably ask for donations. But right now, I'm just doing this to build my audience. For those of you who wants to know.
There you go. I'm back, man.
Yeah, I was telling everybody. I was just telling. I don't know if you heard me. I was basically telling everybody. I've been asked about. Oh, do you get paid for this? Or right now, no. Like you have to walk. You have to crawl before you walk. You just can't go into something and be like, oh, I just want to get paid for it. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to put the work in. As soon as I get a certain amount of followers, I might do that. Ask for like like put out a GoFundMe or have like or give people my cash app so they can donate something for me. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll do it later when I build an audience. Whoops. But yeah, you have to crawl before you walk. That's how it works in entertainment.
Absolutely.
You just not gonna get it like that.
No, you're not. No, it's a lot of one competition, which you can't really worry about. But there's a lot of people out there. You got to make yourself different. You got to focus on what you bring to the table because it's always about what you provide to the audience that you're speaking to.
Yep.
And two, it's also how motivated you are. What are you willing to do to be successful? And I don't think people really understand that question. What are you willing to go through? What are you willing to put yourself through to be successful? Are you willing to go through a long time of not having money to be successful? Are you willing to go through the hard days of not having much to eat to be successful? Not everybody has that story. Some people do. But if you know the story, if you knew the story ahead of time of what it took to become successful, and you will be guaranteed to be successful, but it's going to take this much time to become successful, but you're going to have to go through these things to be successful. Are you willing to do it? If I had to say, look, you would make a song for a wrestler in 2014. Your song will not touch cable television, which is a goal you had on your list, until 2019.
Yes.
Are you willing to put in the work to get there and let 4 or 5 years go by? Now, if they give you that and they tell you, in hindsight, you can say, yeah, I'll wait 4 or 5 years. But that sounds great, but what work are you going to have to put in to get there?
Yeah.
So people really don't look at it that way. They don't look at it that way. You know what I mean? They really don't.
You're right. They don't. They just think about what they think about is they think about the reward before the work.
Mm-hmm.
When you do that, you're just gonna fizzle out because you have no plan. And like Herm Edwards said one time, a goal without a plan is a wish. That's what people need to realize. People have goals without a plan. Like I know it took some years for you to plan out what you're going to do because you wanted to reinvent yourself. Because you was rapping, you was making different songs, but you like, how can I do something different?
Yeah.
So what you did was you put wrestling. That's what you love. You love wrestling, and you love rap, love hip hop. So what did you do? You intertwine them both together. That's what you did. And that's why you are where you are right now, because you thought about two things you love. You love professional wrestling and you love hip hop. So you put it together. Now we all know how hard it's going to be. It's because we all know what kind of music that's in wrestling as far as theme music. It's mostly metal and rock and stuff like that, and probably country. You don't really get you don't really hear that much rap songs in wrestling. That's why I work with you, because it's different. People always want something different. People always seek something that's not ordinary. That's why things that are different gets looked at. And that's why things that are different always get called weird.
Right. And also too, it's when you're first at something or when you're a pioneer at something, you have to take the bruises on your back before somebody else comes and does the same thing you do and becomes successful with it.
Yep.
That's the one thing I struggled with, is like saying, okay, there's other people that came and made wrestling music after me, became successful quicker than me. And it's been like, okay, I had to take the scars on the back for this person and this person to walk and leap. And this is just how it goes. I mean, it's just, You know, when you are first or when you're ahead, a lot of times, a lot of people don't want to be first at something, because when you're first at something, you're known as the inventor, but you don't really get the credit when other people take your idea and might do it better than you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have to be humble enough to know your place in history, know what you've done. And I went through a reinvention time with my career recently. I was a theme song guy. I changed the way I look. I grew my hair out. I have my locks now. I got dreadlocks. I starter locks now, dreadlocks. And you know, I literally reinvented myself. And then I reinvented myself again, making music with Swerve. That gives me a whole nother lane, making music with a professional wrestler and us doing the music we do. Yeah. And then I have my own stuff that I do. So I remain consistent. I try. The two things you can't stop is consistency and reinvention. If you know how to reinvent yourself in this game to make things just look spicier, spice things up a little bit, you know, change the way you rap, change the way you look. Even one thing, like you got to look at like Prince. Prince never looked the same every album. Prince put out like an album a year for like 12 years, but he changed his look every album. He changed something. He changed his hairstyle. He changed the way he dressed. He changed the way his instruments were. He changed the way he performed on stage. He changed the set of how he performed. He always changed something. He changed the sound of every album he did. So no album sounds the same. It's just you have to change something. And that's what it's all about. You know, it's about reinvention and consistency. Because consistency is the only way you're going to be able to get where you want to go. You have to be consistent. No matter who's watching or who's not, you have to be consistent 100% of the time, you know?
You're right. And it's kind of like professional wrestling, like what you said. A lot of the people who become professional wrestlers, they come in playing a character. And that character will probably fizzle out and they have to reinvent themselves. Like Bray Wyatt, your favorite wrestler, right?
Yep.
Yeah. He reinvented himself. It's like he came in with two other people, the Wyatt family. Then he branched off as a singles competitor, became the Fiend. So it's like you have the Playhouse guy, and then you got the Sinister Fiend with the mask. It's kind of like people was comparing him to like a modern day Mick Foley. So you just have to do things to reinvent yourself. And you're right about that. A lot of people just become complacent, like you said earlier. There's a balance. You have to take the wins along with the losses. Mm-hmm. Same thing with being creative. You have to always create something new, because now in 2020, people's attention spans is down to my floor.
Yep.
That's where people's attention spans are.
Yep.
Like right now, people watching this live, I'm not expecting any major live listens right now, because I'm gonna play it back anyway. People can go find it on YouTube if they want to get the full length one. So yeah, people's attention spans are way down below the depths of hell. So you have to do something to keep people on their toes.
Yeah, you have to.
You definitely have to.
That's how me and Swerve works. That's how me and other people work. You gotta keep each other on your toes, man. Keep it sharp, because you never know when something random is gonna come your way.
Yeah.
It's almost like an example. I read a story about how DMX used to have his kids slam on pans and yell as loud as they can in the house. And he'd have to rap over it. Anything that they do to distract him, his kids would throw stuff at him. He would have his kids just do random stuff. Yell, throw stuff, heckle, boo him. And he kept rapping on stage. Never let it distract him. Because he didn't want to not be prepared for anything that could come his way and still give a good show. Like if you get somebody throws an apple on you on stage and you get distracted,
it'll mess up your flow. Usually.
Right. It'll mess up your whole flow. Or if you just keep going. Like, okay, I know I play, let me keep going. Like, it's a different kind of dedication.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing with this business. You got to have a different kind of dedication, man. This business is not for the friendly. It's not for the nice. What it's for is for the dedicated. Sometimes dedication means you can be a good guy along the way. Some people have to be more dedicated and be the opposite end, as long as they're not treating people bad. But, you know, however you got to get it, you got to get it. I believe within morally, of course. I don't believe in jumping out the window immorally to become successful. Yeah. But I believe anything morally, within treating people right, and within yourself, and doing good business, you can get anywhere you want to in life.
Mm-hmm. And to elaborate on what you said, what you mean, I'm assuming what you mean by nice is not being passive.
Right.
Because I'm a nice person. When I first started this, I used to let people just get away with a lot of stuff. I'll just give them something, and I'll never get anything in return for it. Not that I'm always looking for anything in return. Like only thing I look for in return is promotion, just the same way I promoted for them. Because you got a lot of people that's on your Facebook or any of your social media. They'll probably come to you to promote their stuff. But when it comes time for you to do the favor for them, I'm sorry. When it comes time for them to do the favor for you, they don't want to do it.
No, they got what they wanted.
Yeah, they got what they wanted out of you. Sometimes you just have to say no. I'm pretty sure people have DM'd you to ask you to come on their shows or to do something for you, and you just have to tell them no because you knew that it probably wouldn't be the right thing to do for yourself.
Yeah, if it wasn't something, if they have like a bad reputation or something, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
But if it's just someone who has a podcast that want to talk to me, I'm 95% of the time say yes. It's just the other 5%. If it happens to be something crazy that I see that can hurt the brand, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. You always have to do your research on people who ask you to come on their show because some people might just come up. They'll just call you on to either try to troll you because you got trolls out here. They'll just try to troll you, or they'll try to get you to promote their stuff, and they'll just disappear when it comes time to ask you them for something. So yeah, you can't be nice like that because I've dealt with so many people that I've taken photos of, and I don't talk to most of them. I don't talk to most of them because they switched up.
Yep, they did.
Yeah, and I don't mess with them no more. It's like hi and bye. That's about it. Because they really they really cared, or there's really about like really loyal to you. They'll hit you up.
So you think? So when you mean switch up, was it like you guys were like close, but you're just not close anymore, or was it like always just like?
Yeah, exactly. I was close with some of these people that I reached out to for photos. I was close with them.
Wow.
And they just out of nowhere just stopped talking to me. They was out doing other stuff. They like not that I'm jealous that they was getting photos taken by other people, because I don't really care about that, because you got yourself out there. Fine, you can do whatever you want. I'm not mad at that, but just don't treat a person like they didn't do shit for you. Like, you can't do that.
A lot of people that I'm meeting in the wrestling business like that. A lot of people like that. They're worse. They're bad.
Yeah.
That's why I don't take it personal with the wrestling business. I'll be like, all right, cool, peace.
Yeah, that's how I be. And speaking of wrestling, the Swerve podcast, like you told me that he hit you up, but you never told me how did y'all discuss like the first episode, and what did y'all shoot at? Like, what did y'all do what kind of studio are y'all in? Or
well, we started Swerve talk on his couch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Started on his couch. You know what I mean? We had it was just me and him. Bought audio equipment, and we just had nothing. We didn't even have Siren at the time, so it was me and him trying to figure it out. We ended up getting Siren on the team, so it was me, him, and Siren. Me, Swerve, and Siren. Then we ended up getting our editor Mike, so it was me, and then Swole came along. Then it ended up being our guy X, who does our clips and behind the scene clips. So the team has grown to five people, but like it's just been a journey, man. I mean, we shoot it currently in his house, in his studio room, and I go up when we shoot our episodes. I go up there to his house and I sleep on the couch. I eat food, and we bunk and play video games and argue and debate like men do, and I love my brother to death. So we debate, and he's, we debate hip hop, but we think so much alike that we don't argue anymore. But thinking so much alike as in I understand his points, he understands my points, and when we debate is what we debate. But
yeah,
that's man. That's any. You can't be friends with anyone you agree with 100% of the time. Then it'd be kind of weird.
exactly. Like if you can be friends with somebody that you disagree with about serious issues or whatever it is, then that's your friend. Y'all meant to be friends.
Right.
Some people just don't want. Some people just want to hang out with people that just have the same thought process as them, and everybody thinks differently. That's not how it works. Everybody thinks differently, and you can't have. Nobody can think the same.
Right, and you don't learn anything. Like Swerve taught me a lot because he thinks different. So I look at things different. I learned a lot from you. You think different. Rich, a lot of my friends think different. So when there's something they disagree with, I tend to have a open mind to say, oh, okay, I see why you think that way.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily mean you're wrong. Different perspectives is on the way business goes around. It's the way the world goes around. That's why do you think the most powerful people in the world have these business meetings? Because those 6 men in those suits are sitting down to discuss different perspectives. And at those meetings, and whatever perspective works, that that sounds good. It's like a great idea. Then everybody goes along their way. But you can't have one person making the decision all the time. Even the most powerful people have a council of people that they listen to.
Yeah.
The boss always has a council of 6 people like, hey, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Everybody feels involved.
Yeah.
Their thoughts are getting out. Their creative stuff is getting out. So they're not feeling that way. If you just have like one boss that just wants to do things their way all the time, it's going to change morale in the company.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's like me doing MTL and me telling you what to talk about. Like, how does that help you?
Yeah. Like,
how does that help you?
You see, that's media in a nutshell. A lot of these, like, that's probably why I know that I wouldn't make it on national radio, because me giving something to speak about and they want me to spin the narrative they want me to spin. Yeah, it's going to sound like I'm full of shit. People who know me know how I feel about certain things. So for a program director to try to give me bullet points to speak about, I'm just going to rip it up and be like, sorry, I can't do this because it's bullshit. But let me ask you a two-part question. Good.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, you're right. It makes zero sense. It's like if you have like a show or like a television show or radio show or podcast, if your platform is opinion based, of course you have mindful of how you articulate what you want to talk about, but at the same time, it's over opinions. Facts over opinions.
What are some goals for yourself you're working on now?
Goals for myself. Right now, I'm in the middle of trying to get my driver's license. Yes, I'm 32 years old with driver's license, but I lived in New York City my whole life, so that's my excuse. But what I did was I took the time to find some driving schools around the area to go to, and I found one, and I have my road test later on this month, so let's see how that goes. And I'm currently in school. I go to LaGuardia Community College for psychology, and I'm trying to get a career in social work because I want to become a therapist. I got that came out of nowhere actually, because I wanted to do this, but at the same time I realized I love helping people, because people have come up to me and told me that I should do this for a living because I know how to talk to people. They told me I'm an easy person to talk to. So I'm like, you know what? Let me enter the social work field. So I go to LaGuardia Community College for psychology, and I did my first semester during this whole pandemic. Now I'm just waiting to go back this fall, and that's basically my goal. And I'm working on doing this right now. So those are goals for now. Probably my next goal is to launch my website. And also, I forgot one. T-shirts. I want to start my T-shirt line. I love graphic tees, so I'm looking to start that.
Good job, bro. You're on it, man. You're on it.
Yes.
You're on it.
Yeah, but let me ask you this 2-part question before it slips my mind, because
Sure.
I smoke pot a lot, but nobody heard that. But the process, the guests that you have come on the Swerve podcast, what is like? Who have you had on, and how did the process of booking these guests go?
Wow. Great question. We've had the who's who of wrestling on our podcast. We've had Bailey. We've had Bailey. We've had can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. We have Bailey. We've had Kofi Kingston. We've had Kofi Kingston, Bailey. We've had the Street Profits. We've had Tyler Breeze. We've had, I mean, you name it, man. Shotzi Blackheart. I mean, anybody, Simone Johnson. We have everybody, man, on that podcast, man. And Swerve's a great connection on getting talking to his coworkers and seeing if they're down to come talk. I believe that one skill that I've always had, no matter if it's been MTL or Swerve City podcast or whatever, is that I try to make my interviews feel like a conversation and not like, hey, so in 1996, you know what I mean? It's more of a conversation like with Tomies, you know what I mean? I don't know these people from a brick of woods when they get in that door, but I try to make it as conversational as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you. In fact, that's why I got the idea for my interviewing style when I interview people. I want to make it seem like it's a general conversation, a genuine conversation, I should say.
Absolutely.
A lot of these people just be asking them a bunch of like weird questions. Well, not weird, but just questions about their profession. They don't want to hear about that all the time. They want to talk about a certain person, like back in 2017. Me, you, and I forgot this guy's name. We was on MTL. We was talking about hip hop too. He's a wrestler out of TNA. His name escapes me right now, but we all three of us was on the line talking. We did this interview in August of 2017.
He was part of TNA at the time?
Yeah. I forgot his name. His name escapes me. I'm about to look his name up right now. Like, you know what? It'll take me a little bit of time, but it'll come out.
We did an interview.
Yeah, me and you did this interview. You reached out to me and you asked me, "Can I do it with you?" And I'm like, "Sure."
Oh, yeah. Wow! I can't believe. Wow.
Yes. How it went was we wasn't really talking about wrestling like that. We was talking about hip hop. We was talking about who's our top 5. Who was our top, like he said his top 5, I said my top 5, you said your top 5. And we was talking about the state of the music industry. It was one of the best interviews I ever done. It was the best interview. Like I could tell you one of my worst interviews that I've done is like, remember I interviewed Patrick Clark? That was a bomb. That was a bomb. And that was
why was that a bomb, bro?
Because I was way too nervous to do that interview. You actually had to pick up the pieces because I choked. I choked like B Rabbit in the first battle in the beginning of the movie.
I was on that show with you with Patrick?
Yeah, you had to pick me up off the floor because I choked.
Oh, man. I don't even remember it.
Yes, I remember. I'm like, you see, I'm the type of person that to keep me going, I got to remember the BS. I got to remember the negatives so I can move forward. I gotta remember the negatives. That's the only thing that's going to keep me moving forward. I gotta think about the mess ups. That's the only way. That's the only way. Because I'm the type of person that I gotta make fun of myself because somebody's gonna find that interview, and they're gonna shit on me. They're gonna be like, "Why is Stutter and Stanley interviewing Patrick Clark?" That's what they're gonna ask. Like, Stanley interviewing Patrick Clark for? He wasn't ready. So that, like, ever since I did that one, I realized that I just have to be myself and pretend that I'm sitting across from him in a bar or something, so I can just make it look like I'm shooting the shit with him. Because but so much you can ask them, because at the time Hulk Hogan, he was doing some like weird stuff with race and stuff like that, so I couldn't ask him about that because he wasn't going to answer me. But yeah, we did interviews like that, and that's where I get my interviewing style from. I get it from you. Because you want to make it seem like y'all having a genuine talk, as opposed to you having an interview like it sounds like a job interview.
Right.
I want it to sound like a combo, not an interview.
Right. Like, we're just having a talk, man.
Yeah.
2, 3, 4 people catching up on the conversation. And it makes them more at ease.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, in your match in 1997, hey, how did it feel when you got thrown off the cage? Hey, how do you like your new gimmick? Hey, it's like, no, or how do you like your new album? Hey, who's your favorite? What rapper does it like? No, we're going to talk. We're just going to talk as people, because that's what you are to me.
Yeah.
You're a notable person, but you're a human being, and I'm not going to treat you any different than anybody else.
Yeah. Like, why would I ask somebody, how did this bump, like how would this bump feel? I mean, it's a good question, because you want to get their perspective on what they felt moments before it happened. But it really depends on how you phrase the question. If I phrase the question like, oh, how did it feel for you to get thrown off the cage? It hurt. How you think it's going to feel?
Right.
So it really depends on how you phrase the question. And it's like, that's why that's why you have to make them talk to them like they're human beings, like you just said. Because at the end of the day, those people, like any celebrity you come across, they're human beings. Like one of my favorite interviews, besides that interview that I mentioned earlier, was an interview that I did with Javon Hayes. Javon Hay. I mean, he used to play for the Titans. He's defensive end.
Yeah.
We did that interview in 2015. It was one of the best interviews I like, because I love pro football. Anybody who knows me knows I'm an NFL head. I watch all 3 games, including Monday and Thursday nights. I watch all the games. And that was like one of those interviews where I felt comfortable because I love the sport. So it just makes me ask questions like, what did you score in a Wonderlic? Or who's the best quarterback you faced? He told me it was Peyton Manning, of course. I would love to I should have asked him about what he thought of, like, I should have thought to ask him about Brady and Manning, who gave you the most trouble. Should have asked him that, but that's another story for another day. It's water on the bridge.
Absolutely, my brother.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, that's how it has to be. You have to make everything sound like, normal. And not make it sound like we're under some lights and I'm just
right.
a bunch of questions. And in fact, I think interviews like that are boring.
Yeah, they have a shelf life, man.
Yeah.
They have a distinct shelf life.
They do. They really do.
And you can only go but so far doing that. And I don't like those type of interviews. I never did.
Yeah, because they listening to it is like they're not really giving you much information. Like they just answering questions. It's not like, there's no follow up after that. If it doesn't feel like a conversation, it just feels like a job interview, and nobody wants to listen to that. It feels like a press conference. Those are the worst. Those are the worst.
Shout out to Anthony, man. Shout out to Anthony.
Yes.
I haven't talked to him in a while, man. Shout out to you still cool with Susie, right?
Susie. Yeah, I'm still friends with Susie.
Yo, shout out to Susie too,
Shout out to
man.
her.
I don't forget about people that I've met along this journey that we both know. You know what I mean? Shout out to them too.
Yes,
Um,
right now to
man.
give you a cliff note. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Uh,
Well,
uh,
my bad. To give you a cliff note
man, bro.
about
What's
Susie.
up?
To give you a cliff note about Susie, I'm just gonna give you a cliff note because it's something that's gonna come to this that's gonna come on the show soon. Apparently, she has some issues with people in the wrestling community here in New York City bullying her. Like somebody from there sent her a bunch of racist and vile ass pictures. Sent a picture of like we went to the beach about a week ago with my boy Devon, the one you was just talking to earlier before we went on the air. And
Yeah.
it's a picture of me, her, and my god kids in the picture. So whoever was on her Facebook, and it's somebody that she has beef with in the wrestling community here in New York City, and they sent her that picture saying that she's a niggerette. Sorry to have to say that on the air. It's just been racist and vile ass comments. Sent the picture, sent sexual pictures too. This is weird stuff. I think we know who it is, but if we do, we're gonna put them on. We're gonna put them on Front Street on the show. Just to let y'all know. But yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
For sure got a lot of time on their hands be messing with people.
yeah. And I let me ask you this: I'm like the wrestling community gets a lot of flack. Like, what do you think
Right.
about the flack that the wrestling community gets? Like, do you think it's fair, or you think it's foul, or do you think it's somewhere in between?
I think it's in between. I think some wrestling fans are very respectful people. They love it. They're passionate. They're frustrated with the current product. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of them have a lot of great opinions. You know what I mean? I think they're very wise people who really, 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 really have good opinions on how they feel and what they believe. And they're really respectful to wrestlers. They're not in their inbox all day on, they might not even add them personally on Facebook if they know them, or they respect their privacy and they respect them for who they are. And then you have the other side, who's more disrespectful. They take this so serious to the point where it's like they'll be in wars with people. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, especially the ones that be DMing the female talent.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, go back to school before you inbox before you inbox them. Go back to school, because some of the stuff that I be seeing, these screenshots that I be seeing on my timeline from the female talent that I've added on my Facebook. Like, shout out to Amber Rodriguez. She posted some too. And I'll be looking at the way they be like writing. I'm like,
Right.
what the?
That's my sis, man. Love with the death, man. But
How about you go to English class without and not write people and be a creep? You're spending too much time being a creep and not working on your spelling or working on the other stuff that's going on in your life. Like, people
it's crazy, man. I don't know. I don't know what people.
And then the
I don't know
ones
what
that
more people want. Like, I think a lot of it's attention. I think a lot of people have attention deficits, and I think a lot of people are weird. Like, they're just weird people.
Yeah.
And wrestling is a very, very weird thing too, because wrestling, a lot of people kind of feel like outcasts in wrestling because it's not really a popular thing that everybody watches. They watch it, but they don't really watch it.
Yeah. WWE.
So people that really right. So people that are really normally in it, they're just different people. So they get so entrenched and so involved in it, like they lose their minds, man. It's like, nah, man, we're just entertainers, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I make music for wrestlers. You don't like the song I made? That's fine, man. That's 100% fine.
Yeah.
It don't bother me, bro. I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
But I don't get the crazy DMs, the crazy messages. I don't get that. People respect me. I don't get none of that.
I'm glad you don't, because that's I feel sorry for some of these guys. Like, you got fans waiting for them at the airport, and I'm like, first of all, I don't know how you're a grown ass man going to the airport at you have to be like I'm gonna tell you something. Anybody who lives in New York City, we have two airports. Well, three area airports. We have JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark International.
Right.
So I don't know what possesses you to get up out your bed. If you live in Queens, you gotta get up at least 2 o'clock in the morning to even get over there. Or if you live in the Bronx, that's even crazier. It takes like an hour or two to get over there. Because my last flight, I took the bus over there because I didn't have money for Uber or Lyft. But it took me hours to get over there. So what makes you like? I don't know what possesses people to wake up that early in the morning to get the. I don't know. First of all, I don't know how they got the drop on these people, as far as what gate they coming out of. I don't know how that happens, but I don't know how you go as a grown man go to the airport to go take a picture of another grown ass man just going to work himself, because that's really what they're doing. They're going to work. They're going to go on TV to promote whatever event that they're covering, and then they're gonna go back home and go to sleep, or work a show, however that goes. So I don't know. Like, those are the people that give wrestling fans a horrible name. I can understand if you're waiting for them by the arena, that's fine, that's normal, that makes sense. But you're waiting at their airport, and then you got people sneaking into Sasha Banks' hotel room. Oh my God. Like, what is wrong with people?
People nuts, man. They crazy.
And because of that, Sasha has this, thing towards male fans. Like, if you had a meet and greet, you can't put your arm around her.
Yeah, I think they stopped that. I think they stopped that in general. You can't touch them anymore.
I can understand. And it's sad it has to be like that, because not everybody is like that.
Right.
Not everybody is like that. Like you said, you got the ones that are respectful. You got the ones that are disrespectful. But also, I do feel like this is me being me, giving my honest opinion about something. I feel like most of some of the talent, or 50% of the talent that's the biggest stars and stuff like that, I feel like they can't take criticism. Do you think that's fair, or that's fine?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. That's a good question. Let's talk about it.
Oh yes. Do you think they can't take criticism? Because from what I see, I feel like they can't. I feel
anything that is creative art,
yeah,
is more sensitive to the person. Mm-hmm. Because what wrestlers do and what rappers do is almost the same thing. It's just that their art is more physical, and our art is like cutting a promo behind a beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So naturally, I think people that are in respective businesses like wrestling, they're sensitive to their art because this is the art that they believe in. So what the match that they call for those 15 minutes or 10 minutes, this is what they felt like their art was to express during that time. So when you're on your social media and you see everybody negatively crapping on your art, some people can't take that because they feel they're sensitive about their art. Because it's like, if you drew a painting, then everybody was like, yo, your art is trash. If you don't have the mental toughness and the mental maturity to not let it bother you, I used to think the same thing. And not saying I still don't, because a lot of them are sensitive. Just like a lot of us are sensitive about our music. I just think that, there's a different way to handle it. You just don't, it's like, all right, cool. You don't like it. Like Common said it best on a song called The Sixth Sense on the Like Water for Chocolate album in the year 2000. He said, if I don't like it, I don't like it. That don't mean that I'm hating. Like, I just, and if people voice that opinion, hey man, you know what? Every song I've made, people haven't liked. I don't take it personal. Like, all right, man, you don't like it. What did you don't like about it? Oh, okay. Or I don't like the beat, or I don't like this, or I don't like the way you rapped, or I don't like the way you said, okay, that's what's up. Okay, no problem. And then he always prefaces like, oh man, I'm still a fan. Like, no, I mean, you don't have to preface it. If you like 15 of my songs, but there's 2 you don't like on a 17-track album, what, I'm gonna get mad over those 2 songs?
Yeah.
Those 2 songs you just didn't feel. Okay, it's no problem, bro. And we keep it moving.
You see right there, that's constructive criticism. You just got you got that. That's okay, because when people ask me, like they tell me they like my show, I'm like, okay, but basically what I'm looking for is I'm looking for negative feedback. I want somebody to tell me what I did wrong.
Right. So you can do better. Right. So you can do better.
Because if somebody tells me that it's bad, I'm like, then I'm not gonna fix something because I don't think it's broke. But if something's broke, how can I? If something's broke, I need to fix it. So you gotta tell me it's broke. Like it's just like me driving a car with like a broken taillight or half broken brake cable, and nobody tells me that there's something wrong with it. I'm just gonna be driving this car with half a brake cable on it, and I'm gonna end up crashing into a tree. Well, yeah, that's constructive criticism. That's okay. Like some people get mad over constructive criticism for some reason, and you're right. It is like people are sensitive to. I'm kind of like that too. But
if you're an artist, if you're naturally an artist, whether a physical artist like a wrestler, a rapper, podcaster, anything that you take your time, if you take a pen and pad and you draw a house, you color it blue, you color the top of the house red with the roof, and you think it's a good drawing, and you show it to 5 different people, and somebody doesn't like it.
Yeah.
You know, not all constructive criticism is hating. Hating is when it goes beyond what the description is, or description of what you showed them is. Hating, constructive criticism is like, nah, maybe you should try to color inside the lines a little bit more. And so the coloring, I like it though. Like, hey, I like the idea, but when you color the roof red, try to color inside the lines a little more, so that this shade of red, maybe shows out more. Okay, cool. Hating is like, man, I hate that red, man. This house is trash. Like, you know what I mean? Like you can't draw to save your life, bro. Like you just terrible at it, dog. Like you suck. Like you're going beyond the point of not liking something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like you're not giving any basis on why you don't like it. You're just bashing it. You're just shitting on it.
Absolutely. Facts.
Yeah, that's what you're doing. And I used to do that when I was younger, mainly to get a reaction out of people, really. But I ain't gonna lie, I did it for a reaction. I used to bash things all the time. Now I can give a reason why I don't like it. I'll be like, well, this is kind of off. This just doesn't make any sense.
Right, because you're an adult. You're a mature adult, and you're not really worried about anyone's opinion or anything like that. You're just speaking your mind on how you feel.
Yeah.
Hey, I like this. I don't like this. I like this. I don't like this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. This is the reason why I don't like it, and you just either have to accept it or move on. That's yeah.
Fact.
I feel like people just take it out of proportion. And then back to the wrestling fans. You got the ones that give their opinion about you got this whole AEW versus WWE thing that the fans on the internet are doing with each other. So it's like you criticize one thing, they want to try to call you a smark. I guess that's them trying to be condescending and calling that person a mark for that company. For those of you who don't know what it means you're basically loyal to that company, so they call you a mark for it, I guess. I don't know if I'm right about that because I'm ignorant when it comes to certain type of pro wrestling jargon. So maybe I think I'm wrong on that one, but somebody could correct me. But yeah, you get other fans saying, "Oh, you smart," when they criticize. It's like they feel like nobody could criticize something without getting a name called at them. Like it's stupid. Like they're not paying you. Like you for example, Vince McMahon. A lot of the people complain about how he runs the WWE, on what he's been doing as far as creativity. People have a lot to say, and right. then you have fans that say, "Oh, but then AEW," but nobody's talking about AEW. Everybody's just talking about what I was just talking about. Stay on topic, loser.
I don't think that I don't think that people have an idea of what their opinion is on something. I don't think people have a premise on what their opinion actually is. I think
No.
people just talk just to talk.
Yeah.
I don't think they have like a premise on what point they're actually making. I try not to say anything and not have an actual point
Yeah.
when I'm speaking on. People would just say stuff like, "Oh man, Vince McMahon did this or this and that." Listen, I have my complaints about wrestling as well. Certain things I'd like to be better
Yeah.
about the product.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a full understanding that it's outside of my control, and that if I don't want to watch it, I don't have to.
Exactly. Like I stopped watching WWE years ago. The last show I attended was WrestleMania. The last WrestleMania that had an audience in it. How ironic is that? Yeah. And I stopped watching it because I feel like, and this is the reason why I stopped watching it. I stopped watching it because I feel like the people that's creating it, like who's in charge of creation, is basically telling you that you're dumb. And I've heard other people say that too.
Right.
I like it's crazy. I've heard other people. I think I've heard somebody on. I think it was the person that works with Jim Cornette on his podcast. He said he felt like that he's getting that they're trying to insult the audience and his intelligence. That's what he said, and I came up with that same conclusion through years ago. That's why I stopped watching.
Understandable. Everybody has their reasons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has their reasons why they do or don't do something.
Yeah.
And it all just depends on your mental maturity, mm-hmm. how you feel about it, and what's going on. You know what I mean? Like what's happening. Like, okay, why do you feel that way? Okay, cool. So what can we do about it? And if you don't like it,
yeah.
And if you do like it, or if you don't, stick to your guns, stick to your reason why you do or don't, and then move forward. Like it's not that hard. People make this rocket science. You know what I mean? It's just an opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Like for example, I have another constructive criticism about the WWE. Like, and this is something that I guess annoys fans. The way Brock Lesnar is booked.
Right.
The reason people don't like him, somebody broke this down on a YouTube channel that I was put on to called Wrestling Bios, and the title of the video is
Wrestling Bios is dope. I subscribe to their channel.
You've seen one of the early ones. He breaking down why people.
Yeah, I like Wrestling Bios a lot. He's dope.
Yeah, like I've been binge watching that for a few weeks now.
Yeah, me too, bro. Yeah. I subscribed to Wrestling Bios maybe about 3-4 months ago. I'll be watching. Mm-hmm. Yo, he's good, man.
Yes. Like one of the things he broke it down because he even said things that I didn't even notice initially with Brock Lesnar. I didn't notice that his work rate was different, and he tried to be like the UFC, the MMA version of Brock. Right. He came back. So the second time he came back, I felt like it was forced down our throats, or the viewers' throats, I should say.
Understood.
And I feel like people don't like him because they know how, like you said, wrestling fans are sensitive. They know what kind of person he is. He said it time and time again. He's doing it for the money. So when people see him on TV, they get turned off. Now, does the ratings bear that? Not really. But I also feel like it's not like WWE is like boxing or any type of event that headlines two names. They're not really watching for Brock Lesnar. They watching for the other name. Maybe they're watching to see if Brock Lesnar loses to this person. That's why they're watching. They don't really care. I don't really think they want him. They didn't want him to succeed. They didn't want him booked to be this Hulk type person because he's not even fully in it. So people see right through that, and they're not going to take him seriously. And that's why that's one of the reasons why I stopped watching it, because Vince McMahon, you should know your audience, and I feel like Vince McMahon is not in touch with his audience. That's my criticism.
That's not the first time I've heard that, and I think that it's tough, man, because I believe he's in a very, very difficult situation. But I also believe in a situation where if he wanted to change things, he could. It all just depends on what he wants to do. You know what I mean? It all depends on what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I don't look at it with an emotional attachment anymore, because that's just the way that respective person wants to run the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm not.
And I can't get mad at him no more like I used to. Like I used to be a fan. I used to be mad. Now I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. You're gonna sink or swim with this decision. All right, bro.
Yeah. Just
doesn't mean I have to watch it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why I stopped. I'm not gonna sit there and watch something waiting for a change when it's not gonna happen. So I just don't watch. And I think everybody should do the same when it comes to stuff like if you don't like it, turn it off. That's what you do.
Absolutely.
You got to turn it off if you don't like it. That way you'll be stress free. You don't have to worry about it. Like I see people on my timeline talking about how they ain't like to finish this pay-per-view or this pay-per-view blew. And I'm like, I'm just sitting here just y'all wasting y'all time watching this garbage. Okay. That's on y'all. You continue to do. I can get why they want to watch it, because they want to see what happens. Which is why it took me a while to actually stop watching it, because I grew up a fan, as you did too. We grew up in the golden era, so it probably took you years just to gradually fall off and be like, you know what, I can't watch this no more.
It took me years, dude. Years, probably a solid 5, 6.
Yeah, same here. It took me years. It actually took me to get into other sports to realize that I love that other stuff more than wrestling. Even though I always have respect for wrestling, I'm not going to go around calling it even calling it fake, because I feel like it's insulting to the people who's doing it. And I don't want to directly insult them.
Right.
Some people might not feel that way. But I'm not going to sit there and insult them, even though when you go into a profession, you know what you get out of it. But at the same time, you don't have to be that disrespectful person and be like, oh, it's fake. But you can't fake this. You can't fake those bumps. You can fake the conflicts in the stories. Well, at least some of them. But
right.
Everybody has real life issues with each other. Like, for example, Matt Hardy and Edge. That was a real situation they just put into a storyline.
Right.
I like that when he was still part of RH and he went out the Matt Hardy. He went out the Edge. Yeah, he went out the Edge. It was all on the strength of Lita. I didn't know anything about that until I researched it. I know nothing about
it's that. It's a crazy story now. Like, yeah, everybody's cool now.
Yeah. Like you have
at the time, though, that story was hot. That ran the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was you see storylines like that is what people miss about professional wrestling. They miss the soap opera.
Right.
Yeah. I like a lot of people, like I said, a lot of people feel like the storylines that's written on TV, it's just a bunch of like stuff to try to insult your intelligence, and nobody likes that. Even with some of the promos, and then back to the fans. Moxley left the WWE, went on Jericho's podcast to talk about why he left. People going to say, "Oh, he gonna be back in WWE." So that man can't go on the radio and talk about why he left. Come on, those are the type of people that gets on my nerves. Honestly, people who don't like for their talent to talk about. They don't like somebody to critique their beloved WWE or any other thing that they interested in. Like, what is your thoughts on that specifically?
I think people need to have a better understanding of what opinions and criticism is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't all have to like the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if you have a different opinion on that, then you have a different opinion. Like, it's okay. Like, okay, you like that, cool.
Yeah.
All right. But it seems like a lot of people in the wrestling industry, wrestling fans, take that a lot more personal.
They do.
Like, hey, you don't have to like this person to crap on this person or vice versa. But they always do it. Always do it.
Yeah, even when you criticize somebody's favorite rapper, they'll say, but they still make money though. So does Donald Trump.
This is why I tell people hip hop fans and wrestling fans are exactly alike.
Yeah, I think I criticized Cardi B sometime last year. I said I couldn't date somebody that's like Cardi B, and then I think one of my friends, forgot her name, somebody I know came to the
Me personally, either that's not my cup of tea either. Does that make me wrong?
No, you're not wrong for that. Like some people don't think a lot of people they cup of tea. I'm not. They're not wrong for it. Long as your reasoning behind it is logical.
Right.
Some people don't have logical reason why they don't like a person. They're just telling you that they don't like them, and they're nitpicking the stuff that they don't like, without telling you why they really don't like the person. They're trying to hide what the truth is.
Right.
They're trying to hide. They try to hide the truth, but what they're doing is they're filibustering. They're not telling you what you don't like, but they're just telling you the stuff. Like I basically said flat out, I wouldn't date, like as reference today, I wouldn't date somebody like Cardi B. I'm wrong for that. Oh, but she has more money than you. So does Donald Trump. So does Bill Gates. What is your point? He dropped off. He'll come back. But yeah, like I was saying, what is your point? If like I don't get why fans mention, they mention artists' pockets. Like, what are you there counting on some shit? You like get off their body. It was on their body, man. Yeah, TZ, he dropped off. I think he'll be back soon. Hopefully his phone didn't die. But yeah, I'm gonna have a few other guests like this on the William Green Xperience, so y'all tune in. Y'all tune in if y'all want to listen. I'll be here. I'll let y'all know when the next show is gonna be. I'm gonna try to do this every week. I'm still going to try to maintain my audio portion of the show, which is the William Green Xperience on Spreaker Radio. All you gotta do is go to follow me on Instagram at William Green _WGX. Just like you see at the bottom of the screen, just follow TZ on Twitter if you want to connect with him. Twitter and Instagram, TZ Scott. Both of them names TZ Scott, so go check that out. But yeah, I feel like nobody can take constructive criticism. Now, like we said, there's a difference between constructive criticism and just plain out hating or trolling. Like if somebody's trolling you and you don't know them, block them because they serve no purpose to you anyway. If they have something to say about it, then that means that they're little anyway. Give me 1 second. Yeah, my guest dropped off. I don't know what happened. Yeah, let me go through Facebook to see what everybody's been saying. Yeah, I'm gonna read. Let me read some of the comments while I'm over here. Hey, Sue. Yep, Brandon, you're right, Brandon. It's fair. You're a fan, and there's a lot of weirdos. I get it. Oh man, there's a lot of weirdos. You got some people that be sending like pictures of the Jimmy to some of these people, the females, that they do not know. Like, I don't know what possesses you to do that. That makes no sense. That makes no sense at all. Yeah, but it's been a long journey creating this start like creating this whole thing, creating it during a pandemic. I had to get the like I have literally light shining on me right now. I had to get everything set up so I can actually do this again for you guys, and it's been wonderful. But I'm gonna take a little short break. It's a William Green Experience right here on YouTube and Facebook. Oh, I'm back. That song you heard was the very first dedicated wrestling theme that he did for somebody, and that was for Roman Reigns, called Heart of a Warrior. I remember when he send that audio to me on Facebook back in 2014, and I'm like, it's gonna blow. I blow as a blow as in blow up, not trash, but yeah. Like that song is what started it all. Like like he mentioned earlier, we literally stood out in the cold to pitch that. Well, not that particular song, but a song that he did for Hydraulics. We pitched that song to him, and he liked it, and he got to perform it. He got the he got his momentum started, and he gave me the motivation for me to even do this show. But I'm gonna tell you, like while I'm on here, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna be doing with the show while I have time. I want this to be a very interactive show, so I'm going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff that people might not want to hear. I'm gonna tell the truth, whether you like it or not. Also, going to have more guests like TZ on. Um, I think my boy Fritz is watching too. But if you're watching, shout out to him. I want to have him, and I want to have a lot of guests, a lot of different type of guests. I want to talk about a lot of stuff. I want to talk about the dating scene. I want females to come on here to give me their perspective, because I do criticize women a lot. So I criticize men too. But being that I'm a person that is trying to pursue a woman, I often criticize them because of the shit that they do, and I get a lot of heat for it. But it is what it is. I'm not afraid to have the conversation with you. I'm not afraid to have one come on this show to challenge me on anything I said. I'm not scared. Because if you just have people that agree with you all the time, you're not going to never grow. You just be stagnant, and that's not good. It's not a good way to live. Shout out to everybody who's listened. Shout out to everybody who shared this. I didn't even expect for anybody to watch this like that. I'm amazed. I'm amazed. Shout out to Ari. He shared it. I appreciate you, bro. He's one of the other people that motivated me to do this too. Cause he had a radio he had a radio studio that he had here in the Bronx, I believe. Like I wanted to do it. I originally wanted to come out on his station, but I felt like it would have been a better investment if I was to do it on my own. But I'll bring him on here too, so we could talk about this. I think it was called I forgot the name of his radio station. Let me go check. Radio silence, radio silence. See, I'm filibustering right now. You see, when stuff like this goes wrong with the live feed, if you have a guest, you have to find a way to fill it. Okay, it's called Voiceless Music Radio. Voiceless Music. He had a radio station. He ran it. I don't know if he's still running it now or whatever is going on because of COVID, but it was awesome. I actually wanted to do a show. Like I said, I wanted to have my own show at his station, but I thought it would be a smart investment if I was to do it on my own, and that's what I did. Because it feels different when you own it. It feels different when you're the one that's in charge of it. You're the one that's gonna shout out to John. Ortiz. He shared my video, this feed. He's one of the reasons why I'm doing this. So shout out to him too. Shout out to anybody who's out there trying to do some form of art, rather it be making T-shirts, selling T-shirts. They have their own podcast, their own radio show. They rap, they sing. If you do anything that's a performing art, you have balls. Because it really takes balls to come on here and do this. Because anybody who knows me knows that I could be a very laid back and timid person. I don't really like being in front of crowds like that, but if I'm going to do something like this, I gotta get used to it. That's why that's why I'm going to take a public speaking class next semester when I go back to school. That's why I'm going to be okay. There's something that's came in my head. I was part of a program I was in school called CUNY Start. My bad. See? CUNY Start. Basically, CUNY Start is a program that allows you to take remedials. Well, not take remedials. It allows you to take classes that's reading and writing, whatever your remedial needs. It allows you to take those classes and finish and go into credited classes without taking remedials, because remedial classes, they cost money, just like the credited ones cost. If you have financial aid, you just be wasting financial aid money on classes that don't even count towards your degree. So I started that program, I finished the program, and now I'm going to be like an alumni speaker. I want to be an ambassador for that program, because I want everybody who's going to go to that program, I want them to succeed too, just like I did. Because I didn't know anything about it. I was going to just go in and take remedials and just probably fail them, but now I don't need them. Now all the classes I'm going to take this semester, they're all credited. So there's that. But I would like to thank y'all for tuning in, because this stream is about to end soon. And shout out to my boy Teasy. I think his phone died. So I want to thank him for taking out the time for him to come on this show to do this for me, because he's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this in the first place. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody who shared. Shout out to everybody who's listening. Thank you for listening if you did. I'm not expecting like the live listens, but playbacks, whenever you get the chance, tune in. I'll speak to y'all another time. You've been listening to the William Green Xperience right here on YouTube. Good night, everybody.